We see our universe in cycles. But for it is eternal. There's no such thing as an on or off. It just is. Um, but in that process, it creates what seems to be a cycle. The same way you could say, right now we are technically having one extremely long breath throughout our life that only goes in and out. And we are only here to label it as in and out, but there's only one long breath. There's only one breath.
I suppose the only point of the distinction that I'm making would be to say the feeling of what it feels like to mean that. If I talk about the Platonic year, that has its own meaning. And I would say the meaning of the Platonic year, viewing it from that perspective, would be to understand Nietzsche's idea of eternal recurrence. When you have a Platonic year, you have the ability to say what Nietzsche said, which is that within God, or like what you were saying, which was basically that like it exists only as itself, not as change, but as the complete self. And when you view it from that perspective, then you can understand you and this as eternal within God. Every moment of this will happen again eternally within God given enough time, and it has infinite time. So this is eternal within God because this will never stop existing because God never stops existing and this will always exist within God. And that's the benefit of looking at it from the Platonic year. But if you look at it from white hole inside of black hole, um, then and by the way, here's a way to explain this. You can explain the Platonic year with the concepts of white hole and black hole by looking at it this way. You expand white hole forever outwards until it gets too large, or in other words, until you've simulated every kind of difference. And once every kind of difference is simulated, then it collapses into a black hole, which eats all of the white hole. And then once the black hole has eaten all of the white hole, the process resets and it forms back into a white hole. So that's how you could view the Platonic year with the concepts of white hole and black hole. But to escape the concept of the Platonic year, and to look at this concept, which is a white hole inside of a black hole, this provides the feeling of thrashing, the feeling of like randomness, the feeling of just like just screaming out into infinity, and this being one of the infinite things which is there. Like they're two things which mean the same thing, and it really is just depending on the perspective. In the same way free will exists if you exist before this moment in time, and free will doesn't if you exist after this moment in time. This is the exact same kind of thing where the Platonic year exists if you're looking at it from outside, but the Platonic year does not exist if you're looking at it from inside. But if you're looking at it from inside, it provides this feeling of like inescapable. Like I used to describe it as like a bag over my head, like a feeling of just like thrashing, just like it will never end. It can never stop. I'm eternally within the cycle of life and rebirth, and this is one of the infinite things which is thrashed out by myself, and I can never ever escape. Like that is the feeling whenever you view it from white hole inside black hole, and then you have the feeling of more like peace and more like serenity and more like loving the moment if you look at it from outside and you look at it as like this is eternity and I will exist here